Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rasta Jeff. Welcome to the very first episode of the iGrow Culture podcast. For some reason, my mic is blowing out real bad, but we'll fix that later. I'd like to thank you guys for tuning into the very first episode. We got the chuckles over here. We've had few dabs.
Dabs will do that.
Dabs will do that, bro.
This is already fun.
It's so much fun today. We're dabbing out on some what do we got? Jack the Ripper. I grew it, and my buddy over here, my buddy Kevin from Elevated Concentrations blasted it for me.
I'm waving even though you can't see me.
He's
Hi,
waving
world.
and I'm chuckling at
Wave back, people.
The guy over here to my left, we call him Milky Trichomes. It's my buddy White Mike. What's up, bro? So, my name is Rasta Jeff. I'm a grower. I'm a breeder. I got to fix my mic. It's blowing up. Hold on. Boom. Should be fixed. Hold on. There we go. All right, I'm back.
All right, so they call me Rasta Jeff. I'm a medical marijuana patient. I've been smoking for over 20 years. I'm a grower. I'm also a caregiver. I like to teach people how to grow clean, safe, and effective medicine. And after being involved with the plant for so long, I thought I should become a breeder. So started doing some pollen chucking. And eventually I put together my own little seed company. And now I've got Irie Genetics Colorado. So check out iriegeneticscolorado.com, all right? Thanks a lot. So
how about you, Kev? What are you? You're sneezing. Hold on, I'll give you a second. We'll go to Mike.
No, I'm just rubbing the nose.
You're just rubbing the nose, man.
All right.
What do you call yourself, bro? What do you call yourself?
I call myself Kevin or Kevbro or KJ. I have very many names.
All right. What I want to know, motherfucker.
I make concentrates for fun. It's awesome to me. Hopefully for a job pretty soon. And I founded Elevated Concentrations, which
Stay on your microphone so we can hear you.
Which will be returning very soon. I had some issues and had to remove the marketing, so to speak. But other than that, we're all golden. We're still doing what we do. So helping out bros like Irie Jeff.
Nice.
Have
Dude,
some good supplies of
kid makes
concentrates.
some good hash. He keeps me supplied with my head stash, and it's pretty epic. So what do you like to smoke, bro? When you're smoking flowers, do you like to smoke indicas or sativas?
I like indicas. I'm a huge fan of blueberry and some Deadhead OG.
I know a guy that grows some pretty killer Deadhead OG.
I know one myself.
All right. Yep. I usually ask people, I want to ask people if they're a medical or a rec patient, but I know you. I know you're a medical patient.
Yes, sir.
Do you find a line between medicating and recreating?
Sometimes I do, because it doesn't really take very much to medicate and to make myself feel better and to help my ailments. Sometimes I just like to get really stoned. And I go beyond that, and I smoke more than I actually need, but it helps my head a lot when I do that. So,
like your vibe, your attitude?
Yeah, really helps
That's understandable.
my aura, and it helps me to sleep a lot if I over-medicate in the evenings. So
that's not over-medicating. It's perfectly medicating.
Kind of, yeah.
Right. Every other sleep drug isn't light. It's just cannabis works better.
That other dude over here to my left, that's my buddy Mike. We're going to ask him, how long have you been smoking weed, bro?
Since I was 15, 14.
Well, somebody's got to do math for us. How old are you?
I'm 30. I'm 30, almost 32. Like at the end of the month, I'll be 32.
All right,
so
like 17 years?
17 years now.
Do you consider yourself a medical or a recreational smoker?
For a good chunk of that, it was completely recreational. It was just something fun I did occasionally with friends. And then I got injured a couple of years ago working. I hurt my neck real bad and messed up some of the discs in my neck and had some nerve-generated pain is what the fancy doctor folks would call it. And cannabis works a lot better than the pain pills they had me on. And that was really my personal entry into the medical world. And so now it's both, I would say, but the regular use of cannabis is definitely medical rather than recreational.
I would agree that for sure.
Nice.
If it was recreational, I'd probably hit some joints on the weekend or something, but the definite consistent use is medical for sure.
Okay.
Like there's definitely a line between when the pain stops and any sort of enjoyment or entertainment begins, and
video game time or whatever.
Yeah, that line's easy to feel. You can tell when my pain's gone. I can get up, I can do what I've got to do for the day. And then you can kind of feel the pain slowly coming back and go medicate a little bit more. The pain goes away. And the line before you become intoxicated is really easy to walk for me. But when I get home and want to unwind, definitely recreational.
Okay.
Dabs for me are recreational. I go right past medicated into happy place.
Okay, that's a good line to draw.
I'm the opposite. Dabs for me are very medical because I have a lot of respiratory issues, and smoking the herb really gets to me. Smoking a lot of weed really gets to me. So doing the dabs and not having to smoke so much, and now that we've learned about de-waxing and all that stuff and getting a lot of that plant matter out of it, has really helped me to not be congested or wheeze all the time. And, you know, that's if I'm doing quality dabs. But I notice if you do some dirty stuff, it kind of hinders that a little bit. But
Dude, Mike and I, sorry to interrupt you, you just made me think of dirty stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
No, not that kind of dirty stuff.
You should have been here earlier. It was filthy.
No, it's not that kind of show. Not yet. So I met Mike, basically. He started coming to the dispensary I worked at, managed, whatever. I had a lot of roles there. And he got to see the evolution of dirty stuff come to what it is now.
Yeah.
Remember some of the junk we used to see come to that dispensary? People would try to pass off as earwax or BHO. They were calling it butter because it was goopy and syrupy.
The first time I was handed earwax was black tar in a Coke vial. And the guy said, "This is earwax hash," and handed it to me. And I looked him in the face, and like I was new at the shop, so my automatic response to insult the product that I was just handed had to be gut checked and kind of held in reserve. And I just kind of nodded and put it back like on the shelf. I didn't feel like I could say anything there, but good Lord, like the quality of hash in the last 6 years is light years ahead of where it was.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
The stuff little Kev brings back for me is freaking
Bravo,
impressive.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, well, I mean, you got to thank a lot of the whole community for doing that for us. Everyone sharing knowledge with each other and, you know, being fairly open with each other and people being willing to read and learn and gain that knowledge has really, you know, made that happen.
I heard you say something interesting the other day, and I want you to get closer to the mic just for this one
What's up?
thing. If I want to get into hash, what's the first step? If I want to make hash, sorry, not get into it. If I want to make my own BHO.
Go to a school or a library and grab a basic organic chemistry book and sit down and read that shit. And then introduce the cannabis later once you understand what you're dealing with and how to respect it.
See, I think that's a good approach.
And
a lot of people.
And then after that, read some forums and don't watch a single video until you have an understanding and you feel like you can do it on your own. And make a batch or two if you feel confident and you have done those steps and done the reading and gained the knowledge. And then watch videos after you've already tried it, because there's so much stupid shit that people do in those 2-minute videos.
If people had
And
any
making
idea
a
what they're
good
doing.
batch of dabs doesn't take 2 minutes. I don't care what your process is.
No.
So
I've
that's why I recommend doing the reading and the research.
I've waited 2 or 3 days for this dude to bring me back dabs, and it seems like the longer I wait, the better they are.
Yeah.
So it's well worth it.
Yep.
It's
Definitely.
well worth it.
By all means, people, do your homework. The only reason people are getting hurt trying to make dabs is because they heard about it from a friend, and the friend didn't really know what they were talking about. And then they ran to the parts store, bought a bunch of flammable chemicals, took them into an enclosed space, and set all the fumes on fire.
I've talked to
It's
countless
literally the
people.
dumbest shit ever. If
Yep.
you do any research at all, you learn how to not blow yourself up in the first 2 minutes.
It's about respecting what you're dealing with.
Yeah, don't
Exactly.
blast indoors.
Like, just-
That's
Don't
my.
No.
blast indoors.
I'm not a
Never.
hash maker, but my number one piece of
Yeah,
advice
don't do
is
that.
do not blast indoors. That's ridiculous. So what for you, Kev? What kind of mark do you want to leave on the cannabis industry or the society or cannabis world? What kind of mark
I
do you want
wanna-
to leave?
I'd like to just keep continuing with the main attitude that most of us have, and just continue that positive outlook and that positive view from the people as well. You know, just keep gaining that, doing everything as best I can with the most knowledge and learning everything as it comes to light, as everything's changing. Just always keep up with that and share that with the people around me, because that's how we get better, is
Yeah,
by sharing the
sharing.
knowledge that we have. Like,
For sure.
That's how we prevent blowing up, is
Mike,
by
bro.
sharing knowledge.
I know you're doing a lot of work in the cannabis industry. You're not a grower, you're not a hash maker, but you're on the other end. You're the computer nerd that we all need. You're an
That's
activist
me.
on that end. You do a lot of stuff on the. Should I say where you do it? Do you mind?
Sure. No, go
I
ahead.
do a lot of stuff from what I know on the HuffPost. I see you tweeting a lot of cool stuff about cannabis. You're an activist in my mind.
That's part of why I wanted to have you on my
That
first
sounds
show.
like me.
Yeah, bro, that's you do that stuff, and we appreciate it. I need that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm busy in the
definitely.
grow.
The whole
Kev's
community
making
needs
hash.
that.
We
Yeah.
need you to speak for us. You're well written, well spoken.
Yeah.
I like to think of the last 5 years as working on a doctorate in cannabis, but other people might call it unemployed or self-employed or weed employed.
You're kind of employed.
I'm kinda employed.
It's kind of employed at the same
I like
time.
that.
Yeah. So what kind of mark do you want to leave? Like when you're gone, when the earth blows up and somebody reads a book about Mike, what do you want it to say?
Honestly, it would be amazing if my name was in some of the history books as part of this huge experiment going on in Colorado right now about one of the first big names to do it incredibly right. And if I could just put you two in a warehouse and chain you there for a year, like that would be done.
So Mike run the front, me on the grow, Kev on the hash.
Right, if I could just enslave you two and keep Jeff in the garden and Kev in the hash room, and then I'd have to chain myself to the front desk too. Like if they can't leave, I can't leave. That's just fair. But if that could happen, my name would fully be cemented in history. Is the fucking Golden Coors Brewery of Southern Colorado. I know that for a fact. That would be way cool.
It would be way cool to have. It would
Yep.
be way
Yeah,
cool to see
that-
one of my bros accomplish that sort of thing.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, it would be so much fun to play
So,
King
like-
of the Mountain and just sell weed with you two for the rest of my life.
Are we going to have other people, or is it just the three of us? 'Cause this is going to get a little
We're
heavy.
gonna have to
It's
hire
gonna
like
be
a
intense.
whole bunch of helpers.
Can we have some Oompa Loompas and whatnots?
Yeah, we'll need some of those.
We're gonna have to teach them better songs, but yes, I like the idea of Oompa Loompas, little people, and or, oh, dude, I don't care if we hire.
I'll hire anybody, bro. I'm
just
down,
eat
as long
weed
as you
leaves
can-
all day.
eat the trim.
Instead of coca leaves, they're just chewing on weed leaves.
We'll hire a pretty girl to go get you Rasta pasta, and I don't know what Kevin eats. Anthony's.
Kevin will
Take
eat
some
Rasta pasta.
Right, Kevin wants some
I'll
Rasta
take some
pasta.
Rasta
It's fine.
That's a
pasta
Rasta
all
pasta.
day.
They did
Yeah.
not pay for that.
Nope, that was a free promo. If you're a meat eater and want a weed job, I suppose you should call me so I have somebody to go to lunch with.
Yeah, Mike is not. Well, Kev eats the carnivore
eat
stuff,
meat.
but I'm
He's
one
a
of those
carnivore,
hippie types,
but-
y'all. I don't eat any animals. Got a bunch of people that just met us or just tuning in.
He
to us
doesn't
for the
mean
first
grilled
time.
cheese by that, folks. That doesn't count as
No,
a veggie option.
I like some falafel, some hippie shit, man. All right. Well, we had a topic we want to discuss. I'm going to put it back on a serious note here. A recent article that came out written by Ricardo Baca in the Denver Post. An independent Denver Post study of several marijuana-infused products shows wide variances in THC levels in edibles versus labeling. So what that means is apparently they acquired some edibles and they took them to a testing facility. They took them to Steep Hill Halant Labs and they tested them, and the labels did not match the test findings. So I want to read a little bit further for you guys. Take a big breath before I do. I had a couple dabs before the show. Sorry about the wobbly voice. I'm trying to read out loud on a microphone. So it says, as one of the largest producers of marijuana-infused edibles in Colorado, Dr. J's Hash Infusion makes chocolates, caramels, and candies, but many of the company's products contain only a minute fraction of the THC promised on Dr. J's labels, according to independent tests organized by the Denver Post. One Dr. J's Milk Chocolate Stars bar labeled for 1,000 milligrams of THC had, and pay attention here, 0.37 milligrams of valued psychoactive component, according to 3 tests conducted by Steep Hill Halant of Colorado, a state-licensed marijuana testing facility. Another popular Dr. J's chocolate bar, the 100 milligram Winter Mint flavor. Oh, the page is refreshing. That's cute. Let me scroll back down. There we go. Winter Mint flavor tested similarly in 2 experiments, showing 0.28 milligrams of THC. So basically, these chocolate bars cost about $10 plus tax, and they promise to have 100 milligrams of THC in there. And you basically just bought a Hershey bar, or I shouldn't say a brand name. You bought a regular chocolate bar off of the shelf is basically what you got.
At least the regular dollar chocolate bar up by the register at the Quick Way is standardized and like is always going to be kind of what you ordered. The stuff they're cooking in their kitchens, dude, if they can't get the THC that they're trying to put in it, like, does it even taste like food, or does it just taste like boot leather?
Dude, at those numbers, you need 100 of those things to get one normal 25 milligram dose.
Right?
So
Yeah.
At that point, you've dying of diabetes trying to treat whatever you're
$1,000 in
attempting to treat
edibles you
with
need
weed.
for one dose.
So you're going to have diabetes. Yeah, you're going to be fat and funky. That's ridiculous.
So I'm going to continue on. It says they need to work on their process, says Joseph Evans, laboratory director at Steep Hill Hayland, who's a really cool guy, by the way. Shout out to the guys at Steep Hill Hayland.
Hell
I
yeah.
met those guys a couple times.
They've been attacked over this, and everything I've heard and known about Steep Hill Hayland is all gold star type information. I've
Yeah.
never heard anybody whine about anything.
Check it
from
out.
them
I know
until
those guys
this.
personally. They don't pay me a penny. They're friends of mine. They're business partners of mine. I have my products tested with Steep Hill. Grimy Gatsby, Joseph Evans, and Addison Demora are the three guys that I'm friends with there. Straight up dudes. They have no reason to lie, no reason to make anything up. They do good business.
They're making our industry much better.
They're improving every day.
They're improving
Steep Hill
I agree.
Hayland.
all the way.
Big
They're
love,
improving
much
every
respect.
area,
Thank you, guys.
Every area of it. And so from me, from Kevin too, thank you very much.
They didn't pay for
appreciate
that. That's
coming
not
to.
a-
Yeah, this is
do
just
that.
genuine
Like,
appreciation
yeah.
from the
Yeah,
community
for sure.
to the
Just-
testing labs doing a good job.
So he's
showing
Joseph,
love where it's earned.
Joseph says, and check them out, Steep Hill Hayland Labs. Well, that's enough about that one. They say, this says they need to work on their process, says Joseph Evans, laboratory director at Steep Hill Hayland. I don't know that it's irresponsible, but it's non-professional, which is pretty much how I feel.
Yeah.
The evolving marijuana industry is still finding its way in Colorado, and one of the evolving aspects is the testing or lack thereof of products. The State Marijuana Enforcement Division enacted new regulations last week, and more changes are to come in May and in October. For people that aren't from Colorado or aren't familiar with all this, there's some mumbo jumbo in here. The Marijuana Enforcement Division, that is the division that oversees all of the dispensary regulations, rules, and taxing. They're attached to the IRS. They're able to randomly show up at your dispensary on any day that business is being conducted. They can open up all your business records. They can open up all your
Yep.
safes.
Save.
Yeah.
I
They
have
can
no
The
inspect,
boxes where you keep money, they can open those.
inspect any and every
And
part
yeah,
of the
I also
business.
was
Right,
informed
cars in
today,
the parking lot, everything.
cars in the parking lot. They go through the
Yeah.
bathrooms if they feel like it. If they
Yeah.
find like a roach or a pipe or something, you can be in trouble. I don't know exactly what they do about that, but you can be screwed. So there are strict rules, and everything in these medical and recreational centers are under camera from the minute you
everything.
from the
Yeah,
minute you walk in the
it's-
door to the minute you pay. Your money
Very
is
high tech
heavily
camera
on
systems
camera.
too.
Yeah.
Like these aren't just
They require
Harbor Freight
incredibly good
cameras.
cameras.
Like,
Yeah.
Not the Harbor
you
Freight
can
camera.
zoom in on IDs and stuff with
Yeah.
each of these cameras, so and read it perfectly. So they're
Yeah, they've got their stuff under control, and they're just popping in and inspecting places. So that's the place that's involved and responsible for this, and they're coming out with new regulations all the time. They're trying to get it under control. So I'll continue the article. But as the marijuana industry looks ahead to the potential of regular mandatory testing, Dr. J's problems seem deeper than a bad batch or two. The two bars that both tested for less than 0.5 milligram of THC were purchased 2 months and 40 miles apart from each other, and they were separated by 282 batches, or roughly 70,000 units. So this couldn't have been just like a fluke batch or something. This was definitely like,
Yeah, this
what
is
do we call that? That's fucked up. That's definitely
This
what
is
it
their
It's some
business
bullshit.
model being found out by
Trying
the
to be
general
polite
public.
about it, but
It's like if 11 of the 12 pop cans in your 12 pack were empty, or just full of water. Like,
yeah,
it's insane. It's if they're 200 batches apart, that's a business practice. Or a huge flaw in their business practices at minimum. If you produce 100 batches of chocolate bars, and
do it, bro. I see you
there are
looking at the
that many
dabber.
with
Do it.
No weed in them. Come on.
playing with the toys in front of me, dude.
It's a cannabis podcast, man.
I'm
Take
like
a dab.
I'm like a little kid, dude.
As long as I can keep talking, you can get dabbed the fuck out. Shout out to Fong, who made the cool ass torch that we're using. That thing's awesome. So I'm going to read a little bit. I have something to add to what you were saying, but I want to read a little bit more and get this through this article before we rant too much and get distracted. He has a little header. It says, Enter Enforcement Agency. Hundreds of customers have complained about Dr. J's products. At least 3 recreational pot shops dropped the brand entirely. Others said they won't carry them. And the grousing has the attention of the Medical Marijuana Enforcement Division. I got to turn down your mics. That thing's going to be crazy loud, but go for it. I can learn how to do it today. Try to drop that torch out of there. Sorry, y'all. An independent post study of several products showed that THC levels in edibles are never exactly what the package reads. So that's never a good sign. So Mile High candies, watermelon drops are labeled at 100 milligrams of THC, but they actually contained 17.
That's a failure in my mind.
That's a huge failure.
Incredibles Mile High Mint chocolate bar advertises 100 milligrams of THC, but instead included 146. Now keep that in your mind for a minute, because I want to read the next one. Big shout out to The Growing Kitchen. The Growing Kitchen's chocolate chunk cookie tested at 101 milligrams on a product labeled for 100. So they were 1 milligram off. Which
that's doing it right, in my opinion.
Good job, guys. Big love to The Growing Kitchen. Check those guys out. Buy their edibles. The chocolate chunk cookie. It's fucking what it's at. So, something I said to keep in your head. 146 milligrams in an edible that's listed at 100. You're getting 1.5 times your dose. I'm okay with that. But
you and me are, but the general public, that's...
I'm a caregiver. I am a registered caregiver for 5 patients. Mm-hmm. And I have 2 people that if I fed them that, they would probably get mad at me.
It could definitely, if I had stuff to do that day and I was expecting, say, half of 100 milligram dose to start my day off with, and I really got 75 instead of 50 by half in that could mess up a good portion of my day.
This is medical marijuana.
Yeah,
a regulated, tested product. What if this company gave me a Vicodin? And I just thought I took, it's a 750 milligram. I almost just took, what is that? 1,000 milligrams, right? That's probably, I'm going to be fucked up. Yeah. I can't, right? I can't go to work now.
1250.
Yeah, whatever. Somebody, you guys get the damn point, please.
No, I'm with you entirely.
It's not a math bull. I already forgot the numbers I said.
No, this is a product of the industry being on the fringe still. We're only months removed from this industry being shunned by society completely. The people that went to school and learned the skills that it takes to put an exact number of milligrams of THC in a little fun-sized candy bar haven't moved into this industry and the numbers great enough to really provide awesome product standards across the board with edibles. Clearly, who came in one above, one off?
The Growing Kitchen.
The Growing Kitchen has got somebody who really knows what they're doing. I understand that the folks in charge of making the capsules and the oils of Charlotte's Web that were given to the kids with seizures have also taken great lengths to standardize their dose exactly. Clearly, other people haven't bothered to do any of that.
Well, they're trying, but I mean, a lot of this stuff came from mom and pop operations that had to grow and expand quickly.
True, but if you're shooting for 100 and you're getting 15, either you're a moron or your math is seriously flawed.
Did I skip the paragraph where the owner of that company argued, saying that they had to be better? I may have skipped a paragraph. I apologize if I did. I'm skimming through. So
immediately when the story broke, yeah. Oh, do you want to keep reading? I'll shut up.
No, keep going, because you're going to cover what I missed.
When this story broke, the first day it was published on the Denver Post and in the Cannabis, the industry responded immediately with they're lying or their testing methods were off or some other nonsense.
Here's his quote. He said, "I would be in shock if those tests were accurate," said Dr. J's CEO. I'm not going to butcher your last name. His name's Tom. "We're on top of the business in Colorado. I wouldn't be in business this long if we weren't doing things right 99% of the time."
I think 99% of the people for the last year just didn't know what they were buying.
I'm speechless on your answer. Sorry, I paused and nodded, and nobody on a podcast can see me pause and nod.
If it was any other, I go back to if it was any other product. If somebody told you that, 2 out of 4 Fords just burst into flames on the road, would you ever even consider buying one again?
That's fucked up. I've been looking at a Ford. I was going to buy a Ford, yeah.
Sorry, that's not true, Ford. I love you. I've driven many Fords for many years.
Yes, that was a hypothetical. Thank you for not suing us.
But, it's just silly, dude. If you can't produce a standardized product, you need to rethink what you're doing and reset your kitchen up. Clearly, they're failing miserably. And now anyone in Colorado can just walk into a testing facility and say, "I think this chocolate bar is bunk. I saved 2 bites. Test it for me."
That's true.
And it's going to cost them a few bucks, but if
probably
I go to
about $100, I think.
You'll get more in a lawsuit saying I tried to buy my medicine from Dr. J and Dr. J shafted me.
That's a good point. Well, I bet you a lot of dispensaries are going to drop Dr. J before too long, and who's going to buy it?
I'd be surprised if that company is operating under that management and under that name in 6 months.
6 months, ladies and gentlemen. Today is the day after St. Patrick's Day.
March 18th.
March 18th. So this won't go out for a little while. I'm going to try to put a couple episodes together before I throw them out there. Get my shit together before I run. So Colorado marijuana industry leader, I'm getting back into the article, by the way. Colorado marijuana industry leader Dixie Elixirs tested at 60 milligrams of THC with its Dixie rolls in the Post study, which are labeled at 100 milligrams. That's 60% of what you're paying for. That's wrong.
It is wrong.
So if you stopped at a fast food restaurant on your way here, where would you have gone to get like a drink or some sort of beverage? I don't do a lot of the fast food joints. Well, I'm going to say Taco Bell. Or we're going to say Burger Bell. We're just going to make up a spot called Burger Bell. If you stopped at fucking Burger Bell and you took off the lid and your drink was only 60% of the way full, you'd go back.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, hey,
fill this up.
Can you spit in this and fill it the rest of the way up? Because you know they're going to spit in that fucker if you do
right.
that.
No, if it was any other industry, none of these things would be acceptable at all.
None of these things would be acceptable.
None whatsoever. You got 60% of your dinner at Arby's or 60% of the
I'm proud of us
gasoline
for
you're paying
stepping up. I'm proud of somebody for stepping up and doing this. Thanks to the Denver Post for doing it and the Steep Hill. So while we were disappointed to learn of the Post test results, we also know that testing can vary significantly from one lab to the next. Dixie Elixirs, that's hard to say when you're dabbed out and reading quickly. Dixie Elixirs CEO Joe Hoda said, regardless, we will continue to focus on our quality control to be sure all of our products, from edibles to tinctures and topicals, reflect agreed-upon milligrams of THC. So from here on out, they're going to do their best, they say. Maybe they can regain their shit. I see a lot of freebies somewhere from Dr. J's. I'm going to have to give a shit ton of stuff away, man.
I'm really hoping this shakes through the whole industry in Colorado, from the edibles companies that have clearly been doing some shady business for the last several years, down to the shops that have been saying they've got, their Tora Bora tests it, 10% THC, 10% CBD. Like, they've been able to claim whatever without the public having any real recourse to test that.
Right.
And like, if your beer says it was at 3% and it could be at any percent, like, that causes real problems in society. Like, having this being standard is a good thing. It's part of the awesomeness that comes with legalization. None of this was possible 5 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah. Part of the revolution, boys and girls.
A lot of the knowledge that's coming out now is possible because of legalization.
Right.
We can have these labs like Steep Hill that can test stuff for us and give us good results and standardized results.
I've seen a tour of their facility, and it's impressive.
It's really awesome.
Yeah, independent testing labs were one of the first things that sprang up alongside the legal weed industry in Colorado. And it was really cool to see that became like a foundational component to it. It's just sad that the edible companies have done such a bad job standardizing so far.
Well, they can't now. Maybe now they know it. My mic sounds weird in my headphones. I apologize if it sounds goofy to your ears. We'll fix that. Fix it in post. All right, I'll continue. It says, but of the 10 edibles tested in the exclusive Post report, no edible had the THC level problems of Dr. J's, Evans said. You're taking less than a milligram of THC in a product that says 100, Evans said. If people have no confidence in the industry, then there could be a sort of backlash against the whole legal marijuana movement.
Yep.
So I'm going to finish the article. It's one paragraph. It says, how can these numbers be so disparate? While there's been much discussion over testing guidelines, it's still a voluntary action for growers and makers of marijuana-infused products, or MIPs. So again, I just want to give credit to who's the homie that wrote it, Ricardo Baca from the Denver Post. Now, what they tested was Bang Fire Chocolate Bar. I've had that. That's some tastiness right there. It listed 180 milligrams. It actually had 156 milligrams. Not too bad.
It's a lot closer than some of the other ones on there.
It's a lot closer, yeah. I'm going to give that one a 6. I'll give that one a thumbs up. That's cool. You missed it by a little bit, but I mean, compared to the competition, what the hell can I say? So Dr. J's bars, the milk chocolate, listed 100 milligrams. Guess how many, bro? 0.4. 0.4.
That's ridiculous.
Redonkulous, if that's acceptable.
Yeah, That's a peon.
So what if you bought that? What, dude? People are relying. Okay, I'll keep
Urine
going.
has more
Right?
THC.
Dr. J's Star Bars Winter Mint Chocolate 0.3. They claim to have 100. Dr. J's Star Bars White Chocolate claim to have 100. Look, they stepped it up. They got 5 out of 100. 5%. Like
If it's-
5 milligrams.
That's their
That's
Dr.
fine.
J's highest test score was 5%.
Yeah, that's
right?
why I was excited for him.
Or 5 milligrams, not
5
5%.
milligrams. It's 5% because it's 100, so that's accurate for that one. Dr. J's Jelly Stones, they list 100. They got 0.2.
That's just ridiculous.
0.2. Dude, if you owed me $100 and I showed up, what's that, 20 cents? If I showed up with 20 cents and threw it on the table, would you punch me in the damn mouth?
Maybe not for the mouth for 20, but point well taken. Like,
Like, that's, what the?
it's irresponsible business practice. If any other industry did this, they would not. If your new car showed up with no seats, no tires, no engine, no roof,
brakes.
yeah, no brakes, like, come on.
I'm a caregiver. I'm in this. I fell in love. I worked at I was a grower. I was in love with weed. I've been smoking weed for years before I should admit it. I fell in love with cannabis years ago. I became an employee, manager. I ran a dispensary. I fell in love with watching people fall in love with cannabis and watch it improve their lives. I'm a caregiver. I am involved in cannabis. I breed cannabis. I like watching people feel better. The people I'm responsible for that I'm a caregiver they have fucked up conditions that I see. I see it. I'm their friends, and I watch them get better consuming the medicine that I produced. That's what I'm in it for. When you're producing an edible that's listed to have 100 milligrams and only has 5, you're taking money from a sick fucking person, first of all.
Right.
A person that, no matter who you are, you work hard for your money. No matter what you do, now you work hard for your money. Well, most of us work hard for our money. There are some people
Some of
that
us
I'd
work
like
less
to,
hard than others,
yes,
for sure.
and some of us have mommy and daddy's money, but that's a whole other podcast. You're ripping people off. You're taking money out of hardworking people that trusted you to take care of them, and now they aren't medicated. What
Right.
about people like Brave Michaela? What about people that needed medicine? What about people like Cash Hyde that rely on that sort of thing? And sorry to bring up people that have passed and people that are sick, but those people needed medicine, and if you give them, here,
Right.
this will help you. And
No,
they
if that's
consume
Charlotte's
that
Web
relying
oil.
on you. Exactly. What was the girl's name from Utah that was doing the Charlotte's Web? I'm sorry to disrespect, but that's people, a good example. If we gave them medicine
bad.
that was not what we promised to give them, they're not going to get medicated and they're going to get sick again. They'll go into remission, and we just ripped them off and gave them cancer all over again. And that's fucked up in my mind, dude. That's not love. That's not compassion. That's dollar signs. Now, Dr. J's, I want to give you guys the opportunity to redeem yourselves. I can't bash you 100%. I'm not a scientist. I don't work for your company. I want you guys to get it back together. I'd like to see you come through and redeem yourselves. Please.
Oh, you know the Denver Post isn't done with this. In 6 months, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to send their reporters to 15 or 20 shops. They're going to buy up a selection of edibles from different shops, and they're going to take them back to Steep Hill and one of the other testing labs. And this report's coming out again every couple of months.
I hope so.
Until it comes back with 80 or 90% of the products tested are scoring right where they should. I mean, there's no reason that... I mean, edibles have always been hit or miss. But when you're working in a kitchen trying to make can of butter or a can of oil and then make them into an edible product for you and a couple of friends, the process is different. And being unevenly dispersed throughout the batch is less important. And that's sort of always been true with edibles. You're going to make a tray of brownies. One brownie will wreck you for 30 hours. Another brownie won't do anything. But when you're selling it as a medicine and as a standardized product in a store, it can't waver. Your 10 milligrams should always be at 10. Your 100 should always be at 100.
Absolutely.
If not, you're going to
And
kill
part-
people
Well, and part
on
of that,
accident,
what
not
I was
with the
wanting
dosage.
to talk about earlier, when we were
Get up on your mic a little bit, bro, please.
when we were
Thank you,
bullshitting
brother.
around about this
You look
conversation.
so comfortable, though.
We like Jeff and I had a conversation right after he came back from meeting the guys at Steep Hill about how your terpene molecules and things like that can be dispersed differently throughout your like slab of hash. That's why, depending on what part of the slab of hash you give them, it can test differently.
Non-homogeneous sample.
So there you go.
Yeah, see, I retain
So
shit.
I think that could also be true with the can of butters and the can of oils, and it all gets dispersed differently. So when you make it, it is very difficult to get that completely spread across the board. Nice
Kevin's
and
brought me
evenly. So
Kevin's brought me slabs of hash that man, And sometimes I get 10 to 30 grams from him. Sometimes when he does it big,
he's
run for me.
making the shape of a pie plate or a frisbee with his hands.
Yeah, with my hands.
For
So that,
those of you who can't see through the radio.
yeah, I was trying to measure how many grams that was while I did it too. So, and sometimes we can see the puddles of different. I don't know if it's terpenoids or flavonoids, or there's another one that the name just left my head right now. Paleates, I think, is what they may be. And I can't identify them by the puddles, but you could see that and if you dab from different sections, they taste different. You can see
like different layers of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like your different layers of the pie. And it's different oils separating in different textures. So that's a good defense for these edibles. And I agree with you there. Maybe they cooked them tipped up this way, horizontally.
Yeah.
No, that's vertically. Maybe they cooked them vertically,
Something
and all
like that,
the goodies ran down to the bottom bite, and they tested the top bite. But those edibles are not 100 milligrams is too much of a dose for the recent person I've been treating. That's too much for him. He needs half of that. So if he eats he expects to get half of it when he splits it in half. He doesn't think I'm going to get fucking roller coaster the first time and just be bored the second time.
Right.
Exactly.
If the effect we're talking about is what's causing Dr. J's test results, that means that there are Dr. J's edibles out there with several hundred milligrams of THC per dose rather than the single 100 they're advertising, which is just as unprofessional.
That's very true, too.
And I don't think that's the case with Dr. J's. It is probably the case with some of the others that we're testing.
Yeah, and it
at
was
half
just a
or
point
better.
I thought I'd bring up.
Oh no, it's a good one.
Yeah, that's
to
a
think
good
about,
point.
'cause
Yeah, it's
that
definitely
is part
true.
of the equation.
Yeah.
In some of them for
And
sure.
they are working
defense
with
for Dr. J's,
white chocolate Star bars and winter mint chocolate. Maybe that shit's stirring up and it's getting a little puddle on one side, or maybe it's stuck to the wrapper. We got to give them a little bit
Who
of
knows? Yeah.
Maybe these idiots are cooking it all off in their ovens.
a little too hot or something.
Cooking it at 400 degrees for 30 minutes.
That's a good point.
Well, I'm just saying.
Maybe they had a rogue employee rip them off.
If
maybe,
they're doing
maybe
this
Dr.
bad-
J's company, like the good folks there, have no idea. Maybe there's one. It takes one bad apple in your whole company to fucking produce a whole 7,000 units of fucked up chocolate bars.
Knowing the size of Dixie Elixir and Chiba Chews and some of those other major companies' operations, I can see how their numbers kind of went all over the place these last couple of months because their distribution quadrupled. I mean, they weren't prepared for the demand that's hit their companies even a little bit.
It was hard to predict. Shit blew up here.
Yeah, no one knew what was coming, what the demand would be like. And on top of that, none of these people were allowed to produce product for the new recreational market. They had to transfer over up to 15% of their existing inventory. And this caused all sorts of product interruptions and shortages. And in an effort to scramble to catch up, how much of these test results are due to that? Just trying to rush it.
It's a good point. Just trying to rush it. We saw it coming, but we didn't know it was going to happen like this. And when Rec hit, it was so hyped up, and everybody got anxious and shit. Like, we got pumped up. And I want to say another thing. I don't want to scare everybody away. Don't be afraid of dispensaries and edibles. This is one company out of, I'm going to read off more brands. Edipure, Lemon Drops, Hard Candies, listed 100%. They tested at 45. Mile High Candies, Watermelon Drops, listed 100. They tested at 17. Dixie Elixirs, Dixie Rolls, 100. Listed 60 actual. Here's a good one for us. Blue Kudu Cookies and Cream Chocolate Bar, listed 100. They came in at 105. I'll give them props.
Just like everything on the shelf, ask the bud tender which one people come back and buy a bunch. For me,
That's right.
There are two. I don't even know if I want to say the company name, but there's two.
No, if you got something you like, you can say it.
Chiba Chews is awesome.
They're going to be on the list, so we'll get to them.
Their number on this test was disappointing to me. It hurt to know a company that I've supported vocally didn't score.
You should do math on that because it's. I mean, I'm not being a smartass to your answer. You should do the math though because the recommended dose is smaller than the rest. So I'm going to keep reading and we'll get to that. Growing Kitchens Chocolate Chunk Cookie listed 100. We talked about that. Came in at 101. Much love again. Mad respect for that. Incredibles Mile High Mint Chocolate Bar listed 100 milligrams. Came in at 146. That's dangerous, you guys. I know I'm a pothead, you're a pothead, we can handle it, but there are patients out there and people from Texas that haven't had a lot of edibles.
People from Texas,
Right,
that's mean.
But
people
I had
buy
to
this.
pick
There are
somewhere,
people
you know,
that
that
are
haven't,
like that.
they're not ready for what they're going to get hit with.
There are people, yeah.
No, I bought an Incredibles. I went to a dispensary looking for Chiba Chews is actually what I wanted. They didn't have them, and they had Incredibles on sale. And I bought the Mile High Mint, and I bought a, it's a Monkey Bar. I love that fucking Monkey Bar, bro. And I ate them both. I was wrecked. I was really, really high. And I'm a professional, bro. They both had to be overdosed, because I was. So here's Mike's favorite, Chiba Chew Quad Dose Soft Candies, which is usually my go-to edible if I got to go somewhere and eat an edible. They say they have 70 milligrams. They came in at 53.
Right. That's not nearly as bad as some of the other companies on there, but still there.
What's the percentage? Did you do it?
I didn't do it.
Oh, Kevin, you're a math whiz. It's 70, 53 divided by 70, right? That's not fucking, that's right. Do it.
That's right. I don't know.
Come on.
It's still a shortage of. I mean, if you're paying for 70, you expect
Almost
70.
80%.
Yeah, it's about 80%. That's, yeah,
Almost.
80%.
They came in better than a lot of other companies. In my experience with them, is it's a consistent product. It's a good product. Like the flavor is decent. I love their Red Hornet candies or their Green Hornet candies.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it was sad to see that they weren't right on the money.
Joey
That
Coco
was the
Diaz.
first thing I looked for when I saw that article came out. I scanned for Chiba Chew's results and went, "Oh,
Go for my favorites.
About
Joey Diaz likes to
76%.
call him the Chibo Chew.
the Chibo
I ate
Chew."
a freaking Chibo Chew. I'm fucking wrecked up. Huh? So the last one on our list is Sweet Stone Candy Fruit Loops. Big love. It's listed 50 milligrams. It came in at 45. So shout out to
Word.
Claude the Candyman and Melissa,
Yeah.
the whole Sweet Stone
They
team.
do
Those are
pretty good.
cool
Yep.
freaking people, man. Not just
They
good
are.
edible makers. They
They're
didn't
really
pay me
cool
to say
people.
that, but they will.
See, and they're not a huge operation. They're not doing millions of units out of a warehouse, right?
I don't know their business. I can't speak
Oh, you
for
don't
no.
you don't know their business.
I know
You just
that
know their product.
I know
huh?
their product is good, and that Claude is a cool fucking dude, and that Melissa smiles every time you wave at her and smile.
It was
I know
my
those
understanding
three
that they were
things as
smaller.
well.
So shout out to the smaller guys.
Every time I see Claudie, if you smile at him and say "What's up, bro?" and high five him, and he will give you a Claudie bear to eat. A Claudie
Nice.
bear a day keeps the haters away. I don't know, fucking yeah. That's
They
some
work.
tasty shit. Claudie bears. You just got a big old promo from me, Claude. Much love, bro. Well, guys, we've gone 45 minutes. You want to wrap up the first episode here and call it a success?
I think that sounds pretty nifty.
You got anything you want to
Sounds good
shout
to me.
out? Give some promos to, Kev?
Make sure you check out Irie Genetics,
Yeah.
Steep Hill Haylant. Check out my buddies at Top Shelf Extracts.
There you go. Much love.
If you run into any old elevated concentration stuff on the internet, it might be fun to look at.
There you go.
And
Save
shout
some
out to
for
the
next
whole,
time.
The whole cannabis community, dude. So
Cannabis community.
Word.
Hey, you just got your
Appreciate
ticket
y'all.
for the Cannabis Cup, didn't you?
I did.
Boom.
There we
Yeah.
go in 2
Ladies and
days.
gentlemen,
Shakalaka.
Let's get it done.
Did you get a 2-day or a 1-day?
2 day.
2-day. We'll be there both days. We're
We'll
not
be
going
there both
together, but we
days.
will definitely. You'll see us hanging out together. You'll see
Yeah.
us hanging out apart. We'll be doing dabs. We'll be smoking bowls, smoking fat joints, saying hi to people. Look for
We
me.
will be cannabis cupping.
Mike, you got any cool shit to say for the end of the show?
Nope.
Nope.
Stick
All right.
to flowers and hash, people. Clearly, edibles don't have it nailed down yet for the most part.
That's fucking words from the wise, bro. Hey, I want to thank you guys for joining me on my first show. You guys are my bros. You've been with me since I was fucking growing weed in my mom's basement back in the day.
Yeah.
That
For
really,
sure.
that means a lot to me. Mike's trimmed a lot of my weed. Kevin's fucking smoked a good portion of that shit.
Yep,
He's
all the
been,
way from your
and
first
turned a
closet
bunch of it
stuff,
to
and It's
dabs.
been good since then. and it's
Pheno
done-
hunting with
done
me and all
nowhere
that.
but up,
Thank you
and-
guys. Thank you. I want to thank everybody that listened, dude. That was our first episode. I want to call it a success. It was the iGrow Culture podcast. Dude, we have a Twitter. It's at iGrow Culture. If you want to hear about something growing, smoking, something about Colorado, if you want to say hi, if you want to tell me to fuck off, please do. It's at iGrow Culture. I'm also at RastaJeff420, but you know, that's how it goes. Everybody be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. I'm already fucking slurring and stumbling. Hey, take a fat dab for me. Give your mom a hug. Peace.